The FBI is vetting the National Guard for extremists as militia membership soars throughout the nation. In this video, we're going to take a look at the controversial efforts by the FBI to identify what they consider to be right-wing extremists in their midst, how such efforts reveal that the establishment is deathly afraid of a revolt against their power, and how a surge in recruitment among law enforcement ex-military militias are only exacerbating those fears. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, we believe the worldwide populist revolt has just begun, and we're here to give you conservative hope in the midst of admittedly turbulent and trying times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel where each and every day we analyze often distressing current events, but always in light of very hopeful conservative trends so we can all think better and therefore feel better. But first, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's our good friends Prepper's Peak new solar water heater. With all of the lockdowns we just witnessed over the last several months, obviously the solar water heater can turn out to be our very best friend. The solar water heater is an amazing device that allows you to heat and boil water outdoors using simply the sunlight. It can heat water in as little as 30 minutes and it'll work anywhere the sun shines. You could use it for all kinds of things: boiling water, cooking noodles and rice, sterilized water for drinking, great for you campers. And the best part is if you click on the link below right now, you'll actually get an additional 20% off their already reduced price. So don't wait. It is a limited time offer. Click on the link below before they sell out and get your own Patriot Sun cooker today. All right, gang, so let's dive right in here. The Texas Governor Greg Abbott is decrying attempts at vetting Texas National Guard troops who were sent to help guard Washington, D.C. during Biden's inauguration, or better, his virtual inauguration, because we all know that hardly anyone's going to be showing up to it. But Governor Abbott was responding to a report from the Associated Press on Sunday that revealed that the FBI officials were indeed worried about an insider attack or other threat from among the 25,000 National Guard troops presently in Washington, D.C. According to the report, quote, Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy told the Associated Press on Sunday that officials are conscious of the potential threat, and he warned commanders to be on the lookout for any problems within their ranks as the inauguration approaches. So far, however, he and other leaders say they have seen no evidence of any threats, and officials said that the vetting hadn't flagged any issues that they were aware of, close quote. And so what this involves is FBI vetting, is it running servicemen's names through databases and watch lists maintained by the Bureau to see if anything alarming comes up. That could include involvement in prior investigations or terrorism-related concerns and the like. Now, while the Texas National Guard does not seem to have been singled out here, nevertheless, Governor Abbott was livid over this. He took to Twitter and tweeted out, quote, "This is the most offensive thing I've ever heard. No one should ever question the loyalty or professionalism of the Texas National Guard. I authorized more than 1,000 to go to D.C. I'll never do it again if they are disrespected like this," close quote. Now, when I read about this, I immediately thought of the number of videos that we've done over the past few months that showed not only were law enforcement officers and combat vets the #1 recruits among armed militias, but also we featured a number of reports that the U.S. military was actually very concerned about the rise of martial law, particularly among troops who were Trump loyalists. And it seems that these two dynamics have converged in this effort by the FBI to vet National Guard troops out of concern that there could be an insider attack perpetrated among them. The day before Christmas, Newsweek magazine published a fascinating article on how Pentagon and Washington area military leaders were on red alert, precisely because they were very concerned about the increasingly militant rhetoric coming from President Trump, a rhetoric that was at the time being encouraged by a number of present and former officials in the military. And so the article highlighted how the U.S. military was indeed going through its own conflict over the whole notion of martial law, where forces on the inside who were opposed to it were already in the process of putting together a kind of organized resistance against a possible presidential declaration of martial law. Military officials who remained anonymous told Newsweek that they feared the military could get sucked into a crisis of Trump's making, particularly if the president tried to rally private militias and pro-Trump paramilitaries in an effort to disrupt the transition and bring violence to the Capitol. And then, interestingly enough, the article went on to point out that because of the coronavirus, President Trump actually already had at his disposal unprecedented emergency powers. And while most military officers in the field didn't believe that the military as a whole would back President Trump if he called for martial law, nevertheless, they were concerned that there were indeed enough military personnel who would back the president, which of course could change the equation dramatically were President Trump to go there, right? Since it would involve nothing less than a clash from within military ranks themselves. So I think what we're seeing going on here in Washington, D.C. right now in terms of this effort by the FBI to vet the servicemen, it really seems to me to be an extension of this, an extension of this paranoia among military officials. And they weren't alone. There were many pundits, journalists, who believed that President Trump was actually in the midst of plotting a coup. The New Yorker actually wrote a piece giving you advice on what to do if Trump were to go ahead with his plans to launch a coup. The Nation published their own version of this, asking, is Trump planning a coup d'etat? Foreign Policy actually issued a warning to President Trump. Russia's recent history shows how coups fail and succeed. And here's how the article starts. As outgoing U.S. President Donald Trump attempts to cling onto power despite decisively losing the election, fears of a coup in the United States are growing. Russia has experienced 2 coups in the recent past. Why one failed and the other succeeded may provide lessons on how the United States will hold up in the next few weeks, close quote. But my all-time favorite quote, I've featured this before because I love it so much. This one is from The Root. I'm not saying Donald Trump is planning a coup, but he's doing exactly what someone would do if they were planning a coup. So obviously the military officials, the FBI, the mainstream media, they've all been very, very concerned that something really serious could happen involving military power here. Now, this concern is being stoked as well because of the latest trend in militia recruitment. But first, in response to this latest big tech purge that we're seeing of late, we here at Turley Talks are currently setting up a number of different alt-tech sites so we never lose touch with each other. And we would love to share with you all the different sites that we're on and will be on. And you can find out by simply clicking on the link below and signing up for our alternative media directory. This directory is going to make sure that you find precisely the alt-tech site that's right for you. And best of all, you'll learn how to think better so that you can feel better, but without the threat of censorship. It's absolutely free, so make sure to click on that link below. Sign up for our Turley Talks alternative media directory today. Okay, so like we've reported on before, a number of reports have come out highlighting how we are seeing nothing less than a surge in armed militia activity going on throughout our nation. Think tanks like the Brookings Institute are observing the increasing role that's being played by self-styled militias in U.S. politics, from leading protests and demonstrations around COVID-19 restrictions to working together with law enforcement to help protect businesses during the whole Black Lives Matter protests. Now, there have been a number of articles reporting on the fact that thousands of both active and retired law enforcement officers have joined militia organizations over the last few years, and we can only imagine that that number continues to swell at this moment, given how lawmakers have been so quick to disavow the police and start spewing the defund and disband refrain, right? This anti-cop culture so pervasive on the left seems to be only contributing to the surge of militias throughout the nation. This is a surge that's been going on for some time now. Back in 2017, PBS did a report highlighting a noticeable surge in armed militia activity and membership. Today, according to PBS, there are over 500 militia groups in the United States, more than double the number in 2008. Not only that, but now we're finding that militias are indeed infiltrating the government. Check this out from Politico. How the Oath Keepers are quietly infiltrating local government. Now, if you don't know, the Oath Keepers are one of the largest, or I think they may even be the largest patriot militia group. The Oath Keepers were formed in 2009, And many of their members are indeed current and former law enforcement as well as military personnel who fought in Afghanistan and Iraq. And that's what this political article focuses on. They highlight Hood County, Texas, which is a good conservative community outside of Fort Worth. And the article zeroes in on their constable. All right, constables in Texas are akin to sheriffs, right? They're elected to office once every 4 years. Like, they can appoint deputies and all that sort of stuff. And the constable of Hood County is a proud and very open member of the Oath Keepers. And he's not alone. There are actually several Oath Keepers who hold office in Hood County, particularly law enforcement office. And so now we're actually seeing this kind of militia mobilization begin to exercise its own political power as more and more militia members are infiltrating particularly local governments and law enforcement. And this is obviously worrying the powers that be in Washington, D.C. And we're seeing with FBI efforts at vetting National Guard troops. It's a very, very interesting development, one that shows that the political class does indeed recognize and fear that there is a very real and growing revolt that shows no signs of going away. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how calls to pardon Julian Assange are surging as the Wyoming GOP unanimously votes to censure Liz Cheney for impeachment vote. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.